Boruto returned as one of the strongest characters in the entire franchise, but even then he's still susceptible to Momoshiki's control. This was first hinted at in chapter 9 with Boruto fleeing the village once Kawaki triggered his karma seal through the concept of resonance. This means that Momoshiki is still a threat, and to a greater extent since Boruto's extensive training would only serve to benefit him as well. So getting rid of Momoshiki's soul is of utmost importance, and I believe that Sarada will be the one to make it happen. You see, this all goes back to the secrets of the Byakugou seal, which was mentioned in chapter 33 of Boruto's original manga. Sarada initially made the connection between the two techniques due to the similar diamond-shaped marking, but this was dismissed by Kawaki, who said the shape itself is pretty generic, so there isn't anything to go crazy about. Now in any normal circumstance, you'd think this was Kodachi himself telling the audience that there's no connection between the two techniques, despite them sharing a similar shape. But he then admits he correct Kawaki by saying not necessarily. According to his parent, who is Orochimaru, which we're gonna get into later on in the video, the methodic regeneration jutsu or Byakugou seal goes back a long time, or way back into the past, and more importantly, that there's a lot we still don't know about it. So clearly that means that there's a link between the Byakugou seal and the karma seal, or at least the Otsutsuki themselves. In fact, Sakura later states that it's a jutsu that existed for a really long time, from the age of the Sage of Six Paths. So what could be the reason behind the existence of this technique, and what was its initial function? Well, I believe that as with all ninjutsu based techniques, the Byakugou seal is nothing but a mere imitation of shinjutsu, more specifically the shinjutsu known as karma. To understand what I mean by this, we first need to understand how the seal itself functions. This of course takes us back to Naruto, where it was explained that after identifying the amount of chakra they normally use on a regular basis, the person would then continually store any excess amount of chakra in a certain spot on their body, and the seal only shows up once they've reached full capacity, which took Sakura around 3 years to get to that point. Shizume also explained that doing this requires extremely delicate chakra control. In fact, the seal itself is referred to as the pinnacle of chakra control itself per the second databook. Now there's also this interesting tidbit where Katsuya said that she can only use her abilities in response to the strength of Tsunade's Byakugou seal, which implies that there's some connection there as well. Tsunade also said that she and Sakura can summon more of Katsuya's body if they both use the chakra from their Byakugou seals at the same time. So it could simply be that Katsuya is just a summon that requires more chakra than other summons, along with also for some reason needing an external pool of chakra in order to effectively use its abilities. That's why we've never seen a non-Byakugou seal user summon Katsuya before. The chakra requirement is just way too high for the average ninja. Now with that being said, if you do master the technique and later choose to access the chakra stored over time, the extra buff it provides does significantly increase your strength, along with increased regenerative abilities, which increases the more the seal spreads across the body. Now the karma seal on the other hand does go a bit further, since it also contains a copy of the person's genetic data, which can be implanted into someone else in order to take over their body. Even so, the similarities are still there, such as the shape of the marking itself, or it spreads across the body to access more of its power, and even the fact that the karma seal also backs up a copy of the Otsutsuki's chakra. So the Byakugou seal seems to be an inferior version of the karma seal, which lacks some of the features. With that said, it could also be the case that the Byakugou seal only seems inferior because it hasn't been used to its fullest potential the entire time, or at least since it was rediscovered. This once again takes us back to when it was stated that there's still a lot we don't know about the technique itself, which leads me to believe that you might be able to store more than just chakra within the seal, similar to the karma. This actually then leads us to Orochimaru, who created the cursed seal, which works similarly to the karma. This technique was first introduced in part 1 of Naruto after Sasuke was bitten by Orochimaru himself. The seal then allowed Sasuke to tap into immense power that greatly increased his speed, strength, and overall potency of his existing techniques. Now the reason why this seal granted such immense strength wasn't just because it was given to him by Orochimaru, but more so due to the energy it injected into Sasuke's body, which was nature energy. You see, the curse mark itself originated from Sasuke's former teammate named Jugo. He came from a clan that had the innate ability to passively absorb nature energy into their bodies, which also led to changes in the body composition and an increase in overall strength. Orochimaru, after learning about this, studied them and basically performed experiments in an effort to replicate that power in other people, thus creating the cursed seal. Then there's the fact that the entire purpose of the cursed seal is to corrode the user's mind over time, which then allows Orochimaru to take control of their body. And even then, before it gets to that point, the more you use the power of the cursed seal, the easier it is for Orochimaru to influence your decisions, which is a byproduct of a part of his consciousness being stored in the cursed seal itself. So in one instance, we have the karma seal, which stores chakra, genetic data, and anchors the Otsutsuki spirit to the land of the living. Then we have the cursed seal itself, which also stores chakra and anchors anchors a soul to the land of the living by storing a part of the person's consciousness. This then brings us to the Byakugou seal, which also stores chakra and also has other unknown functions. It wouldn't be too crazy if it was later revealed that the Byakugou seal can also be used to store souls, which would take care of the Momoshiki problem. With that said, this then brings us to the how. Let's say Sarada does learn how to perform the Byakugou seal, and it does have the ability to store someone's consciousness. It's not like it can be transferred to someone else's body. Well, actually it can be. This takes us back to chapter 685 of Naruto's manga, when Sakura was able to transfer the Byakugou seal to Obito's body. This then allowed her to imbue him with the chakra she had stored within the seal, thus empowering his dojutsu capabilities. So it's kinda the opposite of what we need to happen, but what if it was able to extract chakra, or let's say the soul of another person, if that's what the user intended? Now I know it sounds crazy, like some crazy headcanon, but it isn't far-fetched, especially since it's a sealing technique similar to the Karma seal and the Curse seal, which both possess the ability to store and anchor souls. So that's why I initially said that it might seem inferior, but that might not be the case, since the Karma seal's main con is that it leads to certain death once successfully implanted, and it also leads to certain death if the process fails as well. So if you're unlucky enough to be chosen as a possible vessel, you either die due to not being compatible, or after the data is fully extracted and your Otsutsuki chooses to resurrect within your body, which at best takes a little over a year. So the Karma seal isn't something one would use to empower themselves in most cases, unless it's the white Karma seal, which doesn't turn you into a vessel, or the weaponized karma that exists absent of the Otsutsuki spirit. So in a sense, we've already seen different versions of the Karma seal that operate in different ways already, and possess different abilities, since Code's white Karma seal isn't able to absorb ninjutsu. So the Byakugou seal could simply be a ninjutsu based imitation of the Karma seal, and that wouldn't be a problem. Now this then leads us to where it came from. I mean, we know it came from the era of the Sage of Six Paths, but that doesn't mean it came from the Sage of Six Paths himself. In fact, he didn't even acknowledge the fact that Sakura had this seal when he saw her back in Shippuden, which truthfully speaking is more likely because Kishimoto didn't plan to expand on it at that point in time. Even still, I have to bring it up since he should have taken that into account when expanding upon it in Boruto. Then again, the sage probably thought it was a random diamond and didn't particularly care for Sakura. Either way, it came from his era, which means that it likely came from the Otsutsuki clan, which existed on the planet before migrating to the moon. Even then, a portion of them did remain on the planet and form the clan the sage operated. Now this might come as a shock to some people, and a lot of people weren't aware of this, but it was first explained that chakra was created by molding your mental and physical energies together. But for some reason, Kishimoto decided to retcon this during the war. This came in the form of Madara explaining that chakra was originally given to humans by the Sage of Six Paths. It was initially meant to be a linking power, something that would connect the mental energies between people. Instead, what ended up happening, as with all the cases of things being given to humans, people decided to not use the chakra to connect with each other, but instead to link the mental and physical energies within themselves as a way to amplify the chakra that was given to them. So what this means is that humans weren't able to create chakra from nothing using mental and physical energies. They instead used that chakra that was given to them by Hagoromo to combine those energies and then amplify that same chakra that was given to them. So everyone who uses ninjutsu came from a lineage of people who either received chakra directly from Hagoromo himself or their descendants of his children. Now the most popular theory you'll find online is that the seal itself came from the Senju or Uzumaki clan, since the first Hokage's wife also seemingly possessed the ability. And the reason why I say seemingly is because Madara said it was his first time hearing about it when facing Tsunade, and the databook only listed Sakura and Tsunade as official users, so it is a bit sketchy. Either way, since it came from the era of the Sage of Six Paths, the only clan that makes sense is Hagoromo's clan, who specialized in his teachings and possessed extensive knowledge of his abilities. So it is likely that Tsunade just discovered a scroll that explained how to perform the technique, but didn't provide the intricate details on the ability itself. It's somewhat similar to how Naruto was able to learn how to use the multi-shadow clone jutsu by just reading the scroll, but he didn't know the special use cases such as relaying information using his clones, or even shortening training time until someone who fully understood the technique explained it to him. So we might get a moment like this with Sarada when she taps into the power itself and maybe speaks to someone from the past using some resurrection or ghost ability that allows her to talk to someone that has been dead for a very long time. Maybe Hamura comes in or Hagoromo, who knows, like ninja logic, Naruto logic, whatever, make it work. With that said, that's it for the video guys. Do you think it's very plausible that this might happen? Do you think the Byakugou seal does have this use case? Because it's not like this is a theory in the sense that, oh, it was stated to store chakra and that's all it's capable of doing and you guys are reaching. I mean, it's legit stated in the manga that we don't know much about it and it came from the age of 6 path. So there is something there that we don't know, and I think it's very relevant to the Boruto manga, or they wouldn't have brought it up in the first place. So we'll see where it goes. I might be wrong on what it's going to be used for, but it's definitely going to be relevant later on in the series as it relates to like Sarada's power scaling. Now, we have seen Sarada keeping up with Hidari per the spoilers, and I'm going to discuss that in a separate video, but it does seem like Sarada doesn't need a seal to scale to the current characters because she's already relative to Hidari, one of the 10 Tails clones. So that's why I feel like the Byakugou seal might be used for some other special reason relevant to the plot, but again, we'll have to wait and see. With that said, drop a like down below, and also guys, if you're new to the channel, remember to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell to be notified when I post new content. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.